review the laws of time travel in Nazca. Is your interpretation similar to that of the Crystal Dynamics sequels, or could anyone theoretically travel back in time and alter the past in your world?
So I don't want to speak specifically to Crystal's interpretation of time travel, but I'll give you my interpretation of time travel, which I think, first of all, is even though we put it in the first Legacy of Kain, it's not something that I'm a particular fan of, and something I'll probably avoid in the future because of all the quagmires that are associated with it. In Kain, you could travel back and change the past that would reflect the future, and that was the only way he could save the world, and that was because of the time streamer Mobius that he was able to do those things. I really take the approach, and I like to think that I side with the approach of parallel worlds in quantum mechanics, where you quantum tunnel, and if you happen to go to a different universe that may have a different time scale, you may be able to change something in that world, but when you come back, it may not be your own world, and it is exceedingly complex, and in some ways, another reason to avoid it all. So, but in Legacy of Kain, that's how we did it. In the future, I would avoid time travel at all costs.
Can you give context to the rifle seen in Mobius's Museum of Artifacts? Fun Easter egg or legitimate glimpse of the future?
It was a legitimate glimpse of the future from Mobius. It's just an example of Mobius being able to travel through different time periods, being a time streamer. So that's what that's from. It was meant to be an Easter egg as well, of course, and fun, but overall, that's where it comes from.
What was the deal with the secret pirate ship, and why was it dummied out?
So interestingly enough, the secret pirate ship was not dummied out. You could get to it in the game. It was just incredibly hard, and no one was able to figure it out until people, reverse engineered the code and looked at the data files. But you can go to different corners of the world and trip invisible switches, and there's 4 of them throughout the world, and you can actually get to that pirate ship. What it's about, it's a secret. Never talk about it.
Robert Kain asks, something that he's always wondered was, were the representational elements in Blood Omen meant to have physical equivalents? For example, when Kain actually finds and picks up the cluster of hearts of darkness, what were you envisioning him doing in the actual game world?
So the answer is yes. So the cards, the orbs, the hearts, all the different things that you pick up, really because Kain was a 2D game and we couldn't show everything in high detail, we wanted people to make the logical leap that they were, literally eating the hearts or, grabbing the different orbs and adding it to their power. And there just wasn't, because it was a 2D game, we weren't able to visually represent it, but that was kind of the idea. Given a chance to redo it, it'd be very interesting to see what our take would be on it today with today's technology and all the different things, because there are a lot more things that we could do, I would say, with technology, but in some ways you don't want to visualize everything, and it always comes down to questions like, when you come to a door, do you want it to automatically open, or do you want someone to press a button to make it open? Because that gesture of pressing the button, is that agency something that enhances gameplay or takes away? And these are sort of the philosophical questions when you ask with one of these. It's an excellent question, but it was meant to have physical equivalency, of course, but at the same time, we couldn't do it back then.
Professor Perel asks, there were obviously some religious influences in character names such as Kain, Raziel, Duma, and Zephon. There were some more subtle references that fans might have missed, and is there actually any chance for a revival of the series, like Dead Sun or something else?
That's a great question, and the first Legacy of Kain series tried to stay away from as many religious references as possible. So Kain, even though it seems like it could be religious in nature, it was spelled with a K to really separate it. We didn't have, I don't think we had almost no religious references whatsoever in the first Legacy of Kain, and that was done on purpose. The second Legacy of Kain, really because it was a hybrid of another product that Crystal Dynamics was working on that was all based off of angelic hierarchies, angels and fallen angels. That's where a lot of that stuff started coming into the Legacy of Kain series. And everything to do with Soul Reaver, and the way that Crystal took the story really took it that way. And yeah, there's tons and tons of angelic references at that point. Now, is there a chance for a sequel? Well, of course. There's always a chance for a sequel. And, time will tell if there is one. It was great to be part of the franchise. It was great to be able to create it at the beginning. And time will tell if there's ever going to be a sequel.
That's it for today's episode. Thank you guys again so much for your questions. If you have anything else you're curious about, feel free to comment below. We will gladly answer your questions. Well, that as well, not me.
Like and subscribe. Pass the word around to everyone.